as others have said, so important to have in any government, and especially the level of government that's closest to us, which is the village board and our village government. That way, if you are asked a question, you're given an answer. It may be that night, but if you're given an answer down the road once they know the answer, I think is very important, so we don't just rifle off an answer that may or may not be correct. You know, and who I'm going to ask for help and advice, I think to me the most important people is test the citizens. I think, you know, you're the ones that pay the taxes, you're the ones that elect us as officials, so I'm going to reach out and say, what do you all think, and how do we move forward in a positive, economic, progressive, whatever way we want to move forward, how are we going to do that? And I want to ask each and every one of you and everyone that's not here. Thank you.
Thank you. We still have a half an hour, so I'm going to do a third question for everybody until the 7 o'clock comes. The question that I have for two of you gentlemen is one that I asked the rest of the group. And how are you going to communicate with your constituents in the schools and also the intergovernmental agencies and groups that we have? I think it's all been established that the schools are very important to our community. How are you going to discuss and let the other groups know what your interests are and how you might be able to work together?
You know, it's just a matter of being present and doing those things. You don't ask for or hope to find the time to do things that are important for you. You make the time to do it. And that's what I'm willing to do. You know, I ran for school board because I know I will make the time to do those things. You know, I've got a 3rd grader and a 5th grader that go to school here, and the education they receive over their next several years is going to be instrumental in their lives. And it's very, very important to me, and you know, as a result of having my children being directly affected by this, I am going to make the time to do it. And I feel like, you know, for the most part, a good decision for my kids will be a good decision for your kids as well. Thank you.
Part of making the time for the school board is I actually started this about 1.5 years ago. As a parent, I started attending the school board meetings. Just as the trustees and the village candidates talk about it, attending the meetings is pretty important. About 1.5 years ago, I was able to get a budget. I was the only parent at the budget meeting. This was just a draft of the $51 million of budgets that's being spent in our school district. So, you know, there's a lot spent in the city, but there's a lot spent through the school district. I actually have a Facebook page that I started for the campaign that I'd like to keep that going to communicate. I've been able to be involved with the PTO. I've been to some boosters meetings. I want to stay connected with those as a board member. Also with the other government agencies. Last night at the board meeting, the school board meeting, there was a proposal for a hotel just south of Shields. They were asking to levy the taxes for 4 years to build this hotel. And our school board didn't allow that to be levied at this time. But there's other economic potential even outside the Chatham. You know, there's a lot of important things in Chatham that as a school district, we need to communicate that with the Springfield aldermen and see what other areas where tax dollars, all that tax money, like Shields is a dividing line where half of their taxes go to Springfield and half of it comes to Chatham. So we need to know what other developments are right along 72 corridor.
Thank you. Without mentioning water or eliminating wasteful spending, what 2 improvements do you plan to focus on?
You want to start with me again, or do you want to start with
Didn't I?
You started with me.
Oh, that's right. But the last one I started with.
Okay, so I'll go first. Okay.
Thank you.
One of my biggest issues, and it has been since 2007 when I first ran for the board, has been our infrastructure throughout our community. And making sure that while we're focused on new growth and new homes and new taxes, we're also focused on making sure that the homes and businesses that brought Chatham to where it is now are still thought of, and they still have improved roads, and they don't have holes or things going on with their streets, and they have walkable sidewalks that aren't missing after 20 years, 30 years, however long. And so the infrastructure to me is key, as I've been walking now and as I have in the past, and making sure that we're a united, connected community infrastructurally. And I think that is one of the most important things. Also the other issue, I think, I'd like to see more people at our meetings, more folks get involved. I'd like to see an increase in our, currently we have some committees that citizens sit on, but I'd like to see maybe an economic commerce committee where citizens come together and say, I'd like to see this come in town, or I'd like to see that, or, we should focus more on this area or that area. And I know we've had them in the past, and I think to bring that back would bring more people involved and get more people involved, which to me is what government's all about, is bringing people together, hearing their ideas, and moving forward and progressing with those ideas.
Craig Law. My main two things that outside of the budget and the water are a partnership with the community, a partnership with the school district. When we go to grow, and that's what I'm talking about, our development here, is grow. That we go to the school board 3 or 4 times a year, and we sit down with them, and they sit down with us. What can our village sustain? What can your school sustain? If we bring in 250 more students to the high school, how does that affect you? How does it affect the 3rd grade, 4th grade center, the 4th and 5th grade center, however you want to look at it? Is our growth and development going to hurt the school district? Is it going to hurt us on our infrastructure, which is the second thing I was concerned about? When you give a guy a pickup bed full of asphalt and say, it's got to last you 2 weeks, it's not right. Okay, you can't fill all the holes in Chatham in 2 weeks with a pickup full of asphalt. Okay, go out and expand, go out and explore. We need to grow, but we need to do it smart. We need a partnership with the school district. Find out what they can handle, what we handle as a village. Those are my 2 main things that I've ran my platform on to begin with. It's one thing that I'm going to strive for to continue once I'm elected.
Thanks, Greg. 2 big areas I think that we can address as a village. One has come up a couple times tonight, and I'm happy to hear from a lot of people with a long-range plan on where we go in the next 10 years. I think the long-range plan provides a lot of opportunities for the village to engage with the citizens, get your development voice behind you. As a developer, we find that the easiest place for us to be attracted to build something is where the residents of the town are telling us they want us to be. So a long-range plan provides that opportunity to really engage with the citizenship. It gives an opportunity to really set forth what's your plan for infrastructure improvements and repairs. And it does that in multiple facets because it makes you update subdivision codes, make sure that your construction codes are all at the current standards, and really analyze where your roads are at this point in time. And then it also shows you the best utilization of your staff. You can better train, better utilize the staff that's on hand, and you find that a lot of that infrastructure work can be done by the staff, just preparing them with the right equipment, the right tools, and the right training to go out and do it, and give them the confidence that they can do those things. Immediately on a road project, you save 20 to 30% by using your own staff, as opposed to having to pay a contractor markup, and that stretches limited dollars. The other part that would go along well in a long-range plan is the technology. Governments always lag behind the world in technology. But when you start to ask your citizens, what's the best way for us to communicate with you? What's the best way to communicate back with us? How do we use technology in a way that's meaningful and impactful to your lives and provides you the value you seek in your relationship with the village? The other one for me, I'm a big parks lover. I helped to co-found the Chatham Friends of the Park. It's a passion of mine. What I really like about parks is they're a symbol of a community. That's where people gather. That's where you come together with your friends, with your family. That's where you play, that's where you enjoy yourselves, and that's where you let your stress go. And I'm a big proponent of parks. I'd like to see us complete a project that we've started with a new park in town. It's going to take creative work. It's going to take a lot of public and private and foundation support to do it. But I think we have a good idea there. We have a good concept there. And we'll put that up there, and I think people will support doing that and doing it. But I am a huge parks fan.
What I see for improvements are knowing what is important to the people. We need a long-range plan. We definitely know that without a doubt. You can't move forward without it. You have to know what the objectives are. You have to know how to obtain them. But by